There's two American foreign policy perspectives that absolutely disgust me in recent years. One of them is, you better not piss off Putin, and the second one is, well, they're going to help us counter China. I'll talk a little bit about each of these and why they're so terrible. For instance, America and Israel shot down the Mad Max of drones and um, Mad Max Fury skies of drones and missiles that Iran shot at Israel, like 300 missiles. But Ukraine pointed out that America didn't help shoot down all the missiles that Russia's been shooting at Ukraine. These are two genocides that are connected. Russia's been committing a long, slower genocide against Ukraine for 3 years now, 2 or 3 years now, or longer, a slow genocide. And then Israel's been committing a much faster genocide against the people in Gaza over the last 6 months. Now, we shot down the attack against Israel, but didn't shoot down the attack from Putin. And the claim was you don't want to piss Putin off. You don't want to upset Putin too much. The same claim for not giving Ukraine some of the same weapons they eventually give them anyway, but not giving them those weapons at the beginning because they could win the war quickly and it would be over and you couldn't sell them more weapons. You couldn't justify all these military expenditures. When you start to look at it, it looks like they're playing both sides just to foster a war at the people's expense. And maybe they always do this for wars and we should cut it out. We should cut them out. But the same notion of you can't do anything to oppose Putin's plans because you don't want to piss Putin off because he's got nuclear weapons and he might nuke something because he's a madman, it just throws out the whole argument for nuclear weapons to begin with. That we have to have these in case anyone might be crazy enough to use them. It's like, no, if you don't have them, no one can be crazy enough to use them, no matter how crazy they get. But the problem with not opposing Putin because you don't want to piss him off is that it's the same principle we're doing in America. You don't want to arrest Trump because you don't want to piss off the Trump-Putineers, the terrorists, because all the terrorists in America, all the domestic terrorists, are now under the Trump umbrella. And you don't want to upset them. When you could just have a seatbelt weekend, let them know we're arresting Trump and we're arresting anybody who acts up too, and just stop them. Arrest the police if it's the police who are captured by Trump and Putin as well, and are the ones who are going to act up. But just let them know, hey, this is your seatbelt weekend. We're going to arrest all Trump Putineers who act up because we arrested Trump. Let's do this. Let's finish this terrorist threat to America now. Because what we're doing instead, by never trying to piss off Putin, or never trying to piss off Trump, or never trying to piss off a single Trump Putineer unhinged victim of brainwashing who's ready to commit terrorism, is you're just giving in to hostage to terrorism. You're just saying, let's let the terrorists run the country. Let's let what the terrorists want be what we decide, and let's hand over all power to the terrorists. It's abdication, it's appeasement. It's the same thing that too many leaders did to in World War II. And we can stop it before it completely destroys the world and our countries and everybody in it. But we need to go ahead and take the risk of pissing Putin off, or put Putin's puppies in the pound, arrest all Putin's minions around the world, and shut the threat down. Now, the other terrible foreign policy perspective we have in America right now is, let's counter China. So let's accept all sorts of evil from all sorts of countries, especially India. India is the one I'm mostly thinking about right now, because they can be a counter to China. So let's let India get as evil and right wing and genocidal as they possibly can be, and say that's all fine because they can be a counter to China. The idea is that China is supposed to be so bad that partnering with all these other countries and enabling, supporting them being as bad as they possibly can be is somehow a good idea. It's not. You could partner with China and cut down these other countries being bad. It's like a plan to promote the worst leaders, such as Modi, who you can vote against in these next few weeks in India, promoting leaders like Modi, who are Putin puppets, who are committing genocides of their own. So the Indian government assassinated 6 separatist leaders in Canada and tried to in America. Canada at least broke off all ties, or at least, had some type of uproar about it, whereas America just, not even a slap on the wrist, not even like asking them nicely not to do that anymore, all in the name of we have to oppose China. So I haven't seen conclusive evidence about anything China's doing that bad. Mostly all I see is racism from America. Like we want them to sell TikTok because China might be spying on us, when Facebook and Twitter are spying on us, and other companies are spying on us for other countries and the most evil people in America, too. TikTok is actually only a threat because it's a way of we can actually uh, spread information, and they're afraid of free speech and the spread of information. As you can see by the way they violently put down uh, peaceful protests against the genocide in Gaza. So all this stuff is amounts to America supporting the worst governments and making the worst decisions. Chances are we haven't had any problems with supposedly upsetting Putin by supporting Israel when Putin supposedly supports Hamas through Iran, something like that. But again, no problems with him shooting down all the Iranian Mad Max Fury skies of missiles. So it's not like the real concern is pissing off Putin, or we should acknowledge that Putin is the puppet master of all right wing presidents, including Netanyahu, that this is a really clear example of Putin playing both sides, Hamas and IDF, against each other for his own victory to distract from his genocide in Ukraine and the other evil things he's doing, and to support right wing leaders. He has his fingers in the brains of all the Trump Putineers here in America, all the trolls and the social networks, YouTube, um, Twitter, Facebook. He's running all those, making people think that his ideas are popular or acceptable, and making plenty of people accept these ideas and troll around in support of them. He's playing both sides of these conflicts, and the way to stop the conflicts is to stop the puppet masters. Netanyahu just fell for it because he's got to go down in this. He's got to be removed from power for his evil war crimes, and the only other outcome is mutual destruction of communities there because he's making it so bad, the backlash will be even worse. And again, that's what Putin and Trump want. They're Klan, they're neo Nazis. They've proven that by their every single action. And Netanyahu is falling into their plan and being one of them, ultimately to the destruction of his own people and obviously other people around them. No genocides are justified, and all these genocides are connected to Putin. We can just call him out, we can stop him, and we might have to piss Putin off by telling the truth, but it's time to do that and end this evil and end America enhancing the worst evils in the world with some excuse about a boogeyman of China, which ultimately boils down to racism, the same racism on display from forcing a sale of TikTok, or this idea that you cannot possibly, make Putin's uh, pee on Putin's borscht because he's got to be able to call all the shots as the top terrorist. No, we can just stop terrorism, stop capitulating to terrorism, stop allowing this terrorist to destroy the world in pieces and in chunks, and just call it out. And maybe he'll be sad, or maybe he'll be gone. But the point is, well, we will have a post Putin world, and all this stuff that he's been doing will come out, and hopefully will stop anybody from ever doing it again. But we know enough that if we can just share information, we can stop this evil now. And we've got to stop American foreign policy, because these two streams of American foreign policy support any other country becoming as evil as it possibly can be to counter China, and let Putin be as evil as he can possibly be, and all his proxies, including Netanyahu, be as evil as they can possibly be, because you can't piss him off, or because we're going to just, unspoken let terrorists run our country. I mean, we had a terrorist for a president for 4 years. We somehow survived it. We won't survive it again. We need to stop his coup in planning. We need to stop anything other than a landslide. So stop supporting genocide so that you can get your landslide that you deserve back, Biden, or get a real candidate like AOC who deserves a landslide, who can actually take America in the appropriate direction of socialism to save us from all this evil fascism and kowtowing to dictators and tyrants. We've got to stop that. We've got to cut them out. We've got to support the people over the powers that will always foster more wars and more genocides and more suffering for the maximum number of people. We can just make it slightly uncomfortable for Putin and Trump by putting them in a jail cell, and Netanyahu you can put them in a cushy jail cell. The point is, you can slightly encumber their lives to save and improve the lives of millions. And we should do it because they deserve it for their evil actions. Thank you. And that goes for Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and the people who run Facebook and Twitter, to their advantage. They deserve consequences for their part in it too. We should call out everybody supporting these terrorists and have some consequences for at least some of them for terrorist supporting, just like we would for any other terrorist group. We need to stop these guys. Thank you. We need to stop them in the government. We need a better government to stop them. Thanks. Thanks for joining the Pillar Revolution. We can do it from bed. We can do it with love.